The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on October 17th, 2023.
It's time now for Business Matters, brought to you by Mokulele Airlines. Now here's your host, Pam Tumpop. Good morning, Pam.
Hey, good morning. How are you, Gary?
Very good. It's a very nice Tuesday morning.
It is gorgeous. Thank you so much for opening the show. To everyone, I'm Pam Tumpop, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, and I'm so excited to welcome you to Business Matters on this glorious and bright and sunny Maui day. We are sponsored by Mokulele Airlines. And today, we are going to talk to Toni Davis of A3H Activities. She's going to share with us what's going on with Lahaina these days and share a little bit more about A3H. And then later, we're going to talk to Mitzi Toro of the Maui Cookie Lady. But first, let me introduce Toni. She's on the line. Toni is the Executive Director of the Activities and Attractions Association of Hawaii, known as A3H, for the three A's in the title, and has been doing this for 26 years. A3H lobbies for consumer and small business protection regarding in-destination experiences. A3H is always looking for economic opportunities through collective marketing, and nearly 20 years ago, as a techie geek with an MBA, Toni created the first web-based real-time reservation system built with and by Hawaii suppliers. It's a system that is cherished within the industry. She is also the president of Kula Software Systems, in which she oversees the operations of the system named as Pono Res. That's Ponorez, like for reservations. And she always aims to make a positive difference every day. And if you know Toni, she certainly does. Personally and professionally, she is devoted to a practice of yoga, and she has gardens on her Makawao property, and just loves life. And she sees tourism as a gift to any community, provided there is appropriate management. Travel is the conduit to world peace, and as people visit other places and engage in different cultures, they see things differently, and the things that are odd become familiar and appreciated, turning fear into love. So I just love that about Miss Toni. Good morning, Toni. How are you today?
Good morning, and thanks to you and Gary for having me on here. And wow, that was quite the introduction. I appreciate all that. That was very kind.
You're very
and
welcome.
It is a beautiful day here in Paradise.
It is a beautiful day, and you are such a bright light in this world.
Makawao, beautiful upcountry.
Oh, I love it. Well, I have sort of a similar view in Pukalani this morning. looking from Kahului to Kihei. It's absolutely stunning. So, you have been involved in the industry for such a long period of time. Can you tell people a little bit about the role A3H plays in the industry on a day-to-day basis?
I would love to. So, as we live here as residents, right, tourism is our economic engine. Love it or hate it. It really is this beautiful economic machine. And as, you said in introducing me, the real key is proper management.
Right.
And when people come here, they want to go do stuff. And it's pretty damaging if we just let them go willy-nilly out there, and it also causes more friction with the residents when uneducated visitors explore on their own, right? So A3H businesses are they're like knowledgeable guides who educate while keeping these visitors safe and also protecting the natural resource. Most of the people that do what they do, whether they're diving or kayaking or zip lining through the forests or hiking, they're so passionate about this place and so passionate about what they do, and they want to share it. So our members, we're statewide, as you said, A3H. A3H follows the World Consortium World Wide Web, which is W3C. So it's the same acronym format as W3C, which is a kind of a standardization group for Internet software stuff. But for example,
that is the techie part of you coming
the
out.
geeky tech side of me coming out. But just so you kind of get a flavor of who our members are, just on Maui, this is just a few, but Atlanta Submarine, Temptation Tours, Hike Maui, Trilogy Excursions, Haleaka Bike Company, Maui Kayak, Maui Dive Shop, Sunshine Helicopters, Old Lahaina Luau, Skyline Eco Adventures, and UF Parasail. It's all the fun stuff, right?
That's right.
So, as a nonprofit,
that they're coming back, that people love and have such a high reputation.
Yes,
for their programs and education and training. That's why they're all so very successful.
They are, and they give back to this place.
Yes.
Right. That's the cool thing about, the visitor industry for the most part. There's a lot of, nationally branded companies. But the businesses in our trade association, they live here. They're stakeholders. They care about this place. And as a nonprofit trade association, we lobby for consumer protection, for their safety, to educate them, and also to, protect the resource as it relates to the sale of activities and attractions, which, by the way, activities and attractions now are being called in-destination experiences. So it covers, the whole realm of things that have been coming out of, there's new emerging things to do. Like the part of what we do is working with the different associations, like the Native Hawaiian Hospitality Association. They offer some really great classes so you can emerge and intertwine the Hawaiian culture into whatever it is that you're doing, as well as we're members with the Hawaii Visitors Convention Bureau, as well as the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, right?
Yes.
So we fully support what HTA does. I'm on the Maui DMAP, the Destination Management Action Plan, and it's really cool the volunteerism and things that are coming out as new in-destination experiences that we just fully support and look for ways that we can better this together and bring our community together. It's all about the aloha spirit, right? That's what we're supposed to, in living here, that's kind of our responsibility, to work well together.
Absolutely. And I loved being on that with you. It was, we had such a great DMAP group.
We do. We really, really do. Yeah, we still need to attack the enforcement thing with illegal operators in our industry specifically, because they tend to really they damage the fabric. Yeah.
No, that's very true. And I just want to give a quick plug for the DMAPs, as you mentioned it, because it is a plan that is not just sitting on the shelf. So I want to encourage people to see the updates, because a lot has happened since that planning process, and it is a very active plan that constantly moves forward.
Yes.
Tell us, speaking of things moving forward, I'm really excited to hear about the reopening of Mala Wharf.
Mala Wharf.
Excuse me. I was about to say, because we know there were concerns about some significant health concerns about reopening. So can you talk a little bit about that and a little bit about that timeline? I know you were just sharing with me how that's being done. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how they're addressing the health concerns?
Sure. So under the emergency proclamation, which expires November 6th, right? So it allows different government agencies to, just stretch things a little bit and make it so that it works under the current situation. So, we have a new chair with the LNR, fairly new, Dawn Chang, and she's on a really steep learning curve with the boating industry and this conflict at Mala. So this past weekend, she opened it up. And she opened it up with some new conditions. So there's no shoreline access, and that's due to water contamination. The boats also have to bus their guests there, and that's so that just people don't go where they're not supposed to go. And commercial operations are also limited to weekdays. There's a new trailer that's at the wharf there, and it has DOBOR, the Department of Boating and Ocean Recreation, under DLNR, and they have staff there during the week. Those are really having to do with the safety concerns, which are from the Department of Health as well as DOBOR. They just think that there is a potential health risk from the exposure of the contamination in the waters near Mala, and they're just advising people, just be safe, right? We're better to be safe than have something after the fact. But if I could just talk about Mala for a sec, because it's just such a hot topic regarding conflict between a really outspoken group about there not being commercial operation there, where, originally, just like Lahaina, Mala was built for commercial and recreational fishing. There wasn't such a big anti-tourism or, push about commercial operation. There was an appreciation for what I mentioned before. These are the folks who keep the visitors here educated and safe and not going places they shouldn't. The first commercial permit in Mala was back in 1983. Tourism wasn't a huge thing then. I think the permits then were done much like they were with the shoreline. They were through, they used to be done through DMV. There wasn't really a process for it. But the permitting is what allows us to manage and control, and that is the key to a successful tourism, is to have that management and control. It's the mechanism that we have. Even when the harbor switched from DOT to DLNR back in 1992, it's super clear. Those commercial permits were there. They've always been in place. And over time, commercial permits, they've, like I was saying, they're vehicles for the facilities to have a mechanism for management. It's needed. The whole us versus them that's really being exposed. I went down there and did site inspections while we were in these debates. And honestly, I went on a holiday weekend because I really wanted to see what all the complaints were about. And it was a busy harbor. Definitely busy. Most of the kind of improper activities had to do with the shoreline people, not the boating people. The boating people were moving. There were no fights. There was no. I mean, it was busy, but it was running smoothly. And even I have been involved in commercial fishing and recreational fishing, and my neighbor's a recreational fisher. They both have big trailer boats, and they don't have an issue with it. For them, Mala is one of the best harbors, best boat ramps to go out of to go fishing. And they, I'm glad that they have the trailer there, because with the trailer there, they're going to have eyes on the ground, and they're actually going to see how well it runs. Although, it's not going to be a fair glimpse, because tourism, it's not like a light switch that just comes back. Yeah. Right? I hear people say tourism floodgates, and I just roll my eyes, because it's so damaging, and it's kind of fantasy. That's not what happens. We are, it's most of our major market for Maui specifically is the U.S. West, and they pretty much went to Europe this summer anyway. I mean, normally we'd have a 3 to 6 month lag between opening and visitors returning, but without the pent-up, we had that pent-up travel demand with COVID. We don't have that now.
Right.
And they were already kind of not, we have a really long road ahead of us, especially with unemployment in Maui's up 250%, right? That's just crazy. We had a housing shortage and staff shorting before this. It's going to be slow. It's going to be a really slow road. I don't know if you saw, Lisa's thing with South Maui, but for Thanksgiving, normally a busy time. South Maui not affected by the fires, right? Yeah. They're 50% down for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the numbers. You're right. I mean, and it's important for us all to educate on that, because there was a fear, and to be honest with you, during COVID, we had that one March where 2 weeks before spring break, things were dead, really dead, and then there were so many amazing airline deals, and then all of a sudden, we had this swift rebound. But again, we had such pent-up demand.
Yep.
And people are, you can't pick and choose like one statistic. You have to look at the trends and understand what's actually going on within the industry. And with more education and people understanding some of the different parameters, that is why the governor has said, and we have constantly said, you have to address, and not just we, I mean the World Health Organization and the International Monetary Fund, leaders in, global issues, leaders in disasters that help, say you have to deal with, the health crisis and the humanitarian issue in tandem with economic recovery.
Right,
and
right.
you talked about we're up unemployment 250%. That means families are hurting with unemployment, and then people say, well, where's all that federal funding?
Yeah,
we got during
where's the
COVID?
governor's grants? I want to know where the $10,000 and $20,000 are. I was at a DBED meeting last week, and they were saying that it's going to be administered through MEO. Just stand by, but I get that question all the time.
And on the economic side for the businesses, they're saying MEO is going to have a section, and MEDB, and I think they've got a credit union.
I'm looking for grants because the small businesses, most of our members, right? They had insurance, and when you go for a small business association, the EIDL loan or the FEMA loan, once you have insurance, it's almost like it pauses because they don't help. It seems like that just causes this. And the insurance companies, I have not heard anybody that I've talked to business-wise say, well, our insurance company is really great. They're really helping us. They've stepped right up. They're getting... No, it is. We are fighting tooth and nail, proving to them that what we knew our policy to be is what it is, and they're making us prove it to them. It's like
but the grants are coming,
challenging.
And you're going to see them. You're going to, like we saw with COVID, they're going to come to MEDB is going to take on some, MEO and credit union, at least a credit union, and the Wanamahi at OED is helping Jimmy Tokioka and the state get those out. So it's slow, but it's coming, and I know they're looking at some for homeowners, some other relief that is being discussed. But the challenge is we need them yesterday, and the other thing is, and we've told the SBA and brought people in to have talk story sessions that the SBA EIDL loans, even though people can take a second EIDL loan, people are saying we can't take a second EIDL loan. We still have the first one through COVID. We can't take on any more debt where we're required to pay interest. So it's a huge challenge, and we're going to have to get those funds out as quickly as possible. And I'm urging, expanded distribution systems if the systems in place can't get the money out quickly.
Yeah, we need to do that. I have businesses. Our businesses are kind of all over the place. I've got businesses that are they need to start up, like you said yesterday. They've got mortgages, staff, ongoing expenses that they are not able to defer any longer, and they need to open. And then I've got other, more of the larger businesses that are just like, we're just going to wait, we're going to heal, we're going to open mid-December to, as late as 2024. And we're just going to take our time. A lot of them are, they're recreating who they are because they kind of have to.
Yes, but that's a challenge, too, because as they're recreating, a lot of their people are furloughed. So, we keep getting back to unemployment and understanding. And so many people I talk to who are unemployed really want that normalcy. They want to get back to their job. Yeah. They're worried about money, especially, we've got people, as you know, our businesses are all across the island. And what we're seeing was what occurred is that a lot of our businesses, whether they were if they're in the fire zone, of course, obviously, huge impacts, but a landslide across the island with people impacted who were open.
It was a ripple. It was like a pebble in a pond that just rippled out. I mean, it even affected the other islands. I mean, their tourism was down. I know initially. I think they've come back.
I was going to say they're changing a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. But
as the message is getting out.
It is. And I know I was talking, because I talk to visitors every once in a while. They call me because of our collective marketing that we do. I was talking to a lady, and she actually was going to Kauai, and she changed part of her trip so she could come to Maui. And it was so sweet what she said. She goes, I don't really know exactly what I want to do. I just know I want to come and spend some money there. I just want to inject some money into your economy. And I was just like, that is so sweet. That is really so kind of you to, and hooking them up with. I know we don't really necessarily have it in place, but the whole volunteerism, the rejuvenation,
right.
Resilient tourism stuff that HTA is really strong on. I mean, it's a nice thing. I've always said, we have the responsibility here of planting those seeds of aloha when people come here. That's what we need. We need to be, forefront in our mind. And if those kind of programs, we actually get visitors, down in the taro fields, muddy and, planting trees in Lahaina. I love that program that's being proposed. It's just, it'll be nice. It'll be bringing, the world in to help us come back.
Well, and really they crave those experiences.
They do. They do.
They
I know.
cherish them
I
for a
think sometimes
lifetime.
people don't know what they want until you give it to them, and then they're like, "Wow, I didn't even know I needed or wanted this, but this is fantastic." Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I've always heard people say, I want to eat where the locals eat. I want to have the food that everybody really enjoys.
Yeah.
And of course, when it comes to poi, we get mixed reviews. But when it comes to so many other things, big thing I
they
always
just
hear.
forgot to pair it with some beautiful kalua pork.
I was going to say, I love my
once
poi
you
and
put those
kalua
two
thing.
together with some sticky rice, I don't know how you could not like that.
Yeah, we just got to get it to them in the right combo. It's true. By
Right.
itself, it's just fun for us to watch.
No,
but
it's like, what is this? Taste? What are you doing?
But no, it's so true. They love these. They cherish these experiences to learn more about the culture, and of course, with what was going on with the DMAP and what we were looking at with regenerative tourism, even before COVID, that was underway, and to see it continuing to blossom, and now have a chance as we rebuild Lahaina to look at new ways of doing that even more. I think is going to be so important.
Yes, I love that our mayor has put together the group that he has, because it's such a, it's an eclectic group of people that are very well respected in our community, and I think they will. Our mayor has been criticized for not letting everybody in, right? He's a judge. He has he's a controller. Okay. he can't.
He has the final say.
He's a leader,
Yes.
and that's really what we need. We need a leader, and he's a very intelligent, smart, open-minded, culturally rich. I'm happy to have him at the helm. I want in a little. I feel a little on the outside, but I really have respected the decisions that he's made in watching him, and it's nobody expects this, and it's difficult.
You can't plan for this. I mean, you can plan around this, but this, as everybody has said, this was a very unusual fire with a very unusual set of circumstances that, of course, we will all learn from, as well as the globe will learn from this.
Right.
Just like other unusual things that have happened across the world.
Yes.
But we do our best to plan forward, but there are some things that, for decades we could have been doing better. Other places, for example, taking
we could always do
telephone
better.
poles.
That's we got to go from good to great. Just as long as we are, have that in our minds and our intentions, I think we'll be okay. But we can even do it together. I really am concerned about the divisiveness. We need to come together as a community. I mean, I see little pockets of it, and it's so beautiful. But it's we need to work on that.
Yeah, and again, you started out with that, right? It's the aloha spirit is what brings us together. This place, that aloha spirit.
It's a law too, right?
Yeah, I do know it's a law. And, and I think actually many people still don't realize. I think I learned that when I first came to the Chamber of Commerce. But what people often don't realize is that also the spirit in the law is described. And I have had and will once again at some point, when things slow down a bit, have a show on the aloha spirit. But to understand the deeper meaning of it, to things like to hear what's not being said.
Yeah, it's
and
defined
to know
as a coordination of the mind and the heart within each person. It brings each person to self. And each person must think and emote good feelings to others in the contemplation and presence of the life force, which for me is God, right? And we call it whatever you want. It has 1,000 names,
it's just
right?
such a beautifully written thing.
It is.
But also when you, even with that, which, as you know, I mean, so many cultural practitioners came together in a forum trying to figure out how to describe it, and Auntie Talahipaki helped write that.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Yes.
But even as you talk to cultural practitioners, what they'll say is, that is such a great characterization of the essence, but the learning of the aloha spirit is so much deeper than that. And I truly see it as a journey that's what's so exciting is in Hawaii, where so many of us are on that journey together.
Yes.
And it is as you said earlier, it is the key to peace.
We have to keep that in the forefront of our mind. We keep that in the forefront, and we're going to come out of this stronger and more united.
Where we can help teach the world and show them ways that we come together. I think it's.
I'm so excited! I got chicken skin. Yeah.
But Toni, before we end our time, I want to have you tell everybody how they can reach out to you at A3H and how businesses can register to be a member of your important organization.
Sure. Thank you. I'd love to. So residents can go to kamaaina.org and they can register for free. We just have to activate you. We get take a picture of your driver's license with your phone and just email it to us, and we can, authenticate that you are a resident. You know how to say kamaaina. And
awesome.
You can have access to our members who offer
tell
kamaaina
everybody a
rates.
little bit about how do you address membership?
Which membership? We have kamaaina, right, which is free, and then there's we in educating the visitors, we vet the businesses. We make sure that they're properly licensed, properly insured, properly permitted for whatever they do, and as I shared, we encourage them to embrace this place and share the special things that you only find here. I mean, that's part of what makes Hawaii unique and wonderful, and it's our responsibility. We live in this amazing place. As far as A3H, if you're a business and you want to become part of our ohana of the trade association, you can go to A3H. So it's just the letter A, the number 3, the letter H .org, because we're a nonprofit, and you can find membership information there. It varies based on the number of employees or staff that you have. Small business is as little as $45 a month. And a larger business, the top of the scale is $100 a month. So, and then you can pay annually and have 10% off, and just makes our accounting a lot easier. So,
easier.
It's pretty simple.
I hear that. Well, it sounds like you're very much like our structure at the Chamber. It's based on employees as well. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, Toni. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No, thank you, Pam, and thank you, Gary, for putting this all together. It's really great. It's such an honor, Pam. My neighbor. I've known you for so many years. It's really great.
For so many years. I know. It's so true. Thank you. And I hope you have a beautiful Maui day.
Yes. Aloha kakakiaka.
Aloha. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll hear from our sponsor, Mokulele Airlines. I'll be back to talk a little bit about the Maui County Festival, and we'll have Mitzi Toro, the Maui Cookie Lady, joining us.
Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal.
So while we get Mitzi on the line, I just want to let everybody know that this is going to be the 10th annual Hawaiian Airlines Made in Maui County Festival. It is always the first weekend, the first Friday and Saturday in November. So this year, that is November 3rd. That is our exclusive shopping day, and it is our wholesale buyers and retail buyers afternoon, where if you are a registered buyer who sells products via wholesale or purchases products for your retail stores, please register online at Made in Maui County Festival to join us on that Friday. And then on Saturday, that is where everybody is welcome. It's the big festival day. Tickets are only $7, and that's where we get huge crowds of people coming to enjoy, getting to meet the makers. We'll have great entertainment on Saturday as well. You'll get to see vendor demonstrations, enjoy food tasting, and so much more. And, of course, don't forget we have an awesome food court every year from our local food trucks. But this is a way to truly support local and get engaged with our community. People have been calling us, asking us, hoping that we're going to do it, and of course we are. So many of our small businesses, with the tragedy in Lahaina, some of them were in Lahaina. They've lost everything. Some of them couldn't join us this year because of that, but all wanted to see the festival move on. Others lost everything but have, remade new products for this year's festival and are eager and excited to share those with you. And some companies across the county just lost a lot of their retail outlets in Lahaina that sold their products. So this is a great celebration. We are, really deeply moved by what these small businesses have done who've gone through tragedy to be ready for this show and to share their products and aloha spirit with you. So we hope you'll come out and join us. There's always going to be shuttles to get you there from easy parking lots so you don't have to walk long ways, especially on the way home when your bags are heavy with great products. And it's a great way just to help local manufacturers who create quality products by local hands and hearts for you to support our community and support those from across Maui County. So we hope you'll join us. And one of those amazing people who has been involved in the show, in fact, that's how I first met her, is Mitzi Toro, known as the Maui Cookie Lady. That is also the name of her company. She has been in the business she's been a long-time cookie enthusiast, but she began as a school teacher, and she wanted to do something special for the nurses who treated her father when he was terminally ill, so the ICU nurses who were helping him. And people kept saying, wow, what an amazing cookie product. So she baked that sweet artisan treats as a way to say mahalo for the nurses, and then over time, a campaign was started, and she continued. And we all now know these delicious, colossal cookies became an instant hit. So she turned in her teacher hat for a baker's cap. And, for Mitzi, this is truly the American dream of a school teacher turned cookiepreneur. She has had such great small business success beginning in 2013 when she was featured in Food Network's magazine, and then on to winning the State Small Business Women-Owned Business Award in 2021 and winning the Mayor's Small Business Award in 2022. And she continues to get great accolades for the Maui Cookie Lady's amazing products and now a store in Maklau. So let's talk to Mitzi. Good morning, Mitzi. Aloha.
Oh, hi, Pam. Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on.
Good morning. We are so glad to have you on this show.
I'm excited to be here.
if people don't know, you are a very busy cookiepreneur, and there's been a lot of new things going lately. Can you tell us what your business has been doing?
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have been busy. First couple months, we were focusing on donations and recovery and getting and distributing all the donations that were coming in. And this last few weeks, we've started to realize that Christmas is around the corner, coming faster every year. So we're already planning turning our shop into a winter wonderland for the Christmas, which will head off about November 16th, that second Saturday in November. And we have been working on just some new food innovations with last year we released extracts, and we also made some tropical meltaways, which are like old school buttermints, but local flavors. So a lot of fun stuff happening.
Yes, and you had flavored sugars?
Yes, we have our mango flavored sugar, which we have lily koi too, and we also have lavender. So people just use that in baking or iced tea.
Or cocktails.
And yes, of course, rimma cocktail. There you go. Absolutely, lots of versatile uses. Yeah, lots of good stuff.
All the wonderful stuff. Well, that is really awesome, and your story has really resonated with people from the beginning. How do you continue to manifest that work, as you're progressing forward? How do you continue to share that story? Because I know you're such an inspiration to so many other people.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's since I did not have a business background or marketing or even formally trained in culinary, my learning curve was bigger than most. But even more so, I just was more determined to kind of overcome obstacles that came my way. But it's a great living proof that you don't. You can learn as you go. You don't have to know everything when you start. In fact, if I knew what I knew now, I would realize how many more classes I probably would have taken. But at the beginning, the advice given to me was to reach out and find people who knew what they were doing in the field you were at and try to secure at least a 15-minute interview, not over the phone or through email, but just to meet in person. And those are sometimes the hardest people to secure an interview with because they're so busy in the field that they're working in. But that first year, I really did go outside of the box, so to speak, and just meet up with people that knew manufacturing, knew food. I had mentors on the mainland that I couldn't see in person, but I did call, and then just maintain that friendship. So as things come up, you have other people to bounce ideas off of and challenges and get get advice to get through the different obstacles that business does bring your way.
Yeah. No, that's very good advice. And you talked about, all the work you were doing and how busy you've been doing donations. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your slipper donations and the work you did
so
there?
As a school teacher, I saw the need for flip-flops and slippers in school, and there's no budget for the public schools to have these items, and their slippers break all the time. So that was a cause close to my heart. I saw a lot of the staff were kind of buying it out of their own pockets and just relying on donations, which they didn't really come in very often. So it was a natural kind of progression for me to make that my cause, and then I loved working for the school for so many years. So I was collecting flip-flops for years. Before the fires started, we had reached 4,300 flip-flops that were collected and distributed to all the public schools on 3 islands. My original goal was just to get 2 cases at each school, but then we hit that goal pretty quickly, and the need doesn't stop, so I just kept collecting. And right before the fires let out, we had done a partnership with my fire department with Mayor Victorino, approved it. It was last spring, and the fire stations collected flip-flops for this cause, and the idea was going to give them back to the schools once school started. And, of course, everything that happened, the initial need was they really did need slippers. The shelves had been emptied for the slippers that were available at the very beginning part when we didn't have a lot of supplies coming to the island. And we were sitting on about 350 pairs that the fire department had collected, so it was just great timing. I was able to get those out to the donation center right away. And then I used our social media platform and text message and emails to reach the customers on the mainland that had been following us and letting them know we really do need footwear, and if they can just, even if they can't afford to send it, no problem, but if you can just share the message on your social media and maybe somebody can. And it really resonated. We are still getting boxes. We had 2 more really big boxes come in last week, but we ended up having not just hundreds but thousands of footwear coming to Maui, and we were able to get through to the donation centers up Country Strong, the donation centers downtown, and then all the overflow we just kept taking around to the schools. So since August 8th, we've collected over 5,000 pairs, and on top of that, people just wanted to help, so they were sending diapers and baby wipes, and we even had pet food. And at one point, I think the news had said, unless you have an address, don't send them out, because we were just inundated with so much love and support, but it was a lot coming into the island at once. So I gladly was volunteered to have my address. So anybody who was messaging me said, absolutely, send it to us. And we had 3 of our staff members volunteer their time just to take the supplies around, and they're still doing that and helping with the distribution. So that has been one of the best things about having a shop to drop off at, and then an online presence to be able to reach out in a time of need.
Absolutely, and your shop, which is a treasure and something that everybody should see if you haven't seen it, but also an amazing COVID pivot story as well. And that's one of the places that you take in all these donations. Can you tell people a little bit about how you pivoted during COVID and got into a retail store?
Yeah.
When so many, were pulling back.
Yes, and it was a risky move, and that's business, right? Always taking risk and hoping that it'll pan out. But we were in the need for a brick and mortar for years. We, at the very beginning, only had an online presence through an online store, and then we started to get into wholesale. But even with our wholesale was doing really well, we couldn't keep up with all the accounts we had. So we just pulled out of most of our accounts, just kept a select few. But people did really want to go somewhere, especially if they were looking forward to it on vacation and didn't really have a store. We had a kiosk downtown, but when it was inside the Maui Pack and Ship postal place, and it worked out great. But then when the pandemic happened, we had to exit because there was such a limited amount of people that could come in. And even before that, though, we were already looking for a place up country. It's just difficult to kind of find the right place. We looked at a few places. We even signed letter of intent for 2 locations, but it just didn't feel right. It just felt like it wasn't a fit. And then when our current space came open, it's a pretty long wait to get a space in town. The owners of the building had heard that we were looking for a place and reached out to us and said, look, we have a spot coming open, and we've heard you're looking for a place. And there's also a neat connection between the family who started all of Makawao Town and the property where our kitchen is. It was both built by the same person, and it's Cam Yao, and his granddaughter now runs the first 19 stores. And so she reached out, and it was just it was just serendipitous. And we had to make the decision really quickly. It was right before Christmas, and I walked in and I knew right away this was the spot. And what was kind of cool about that location is my dad is from Germany. We started as a fundraiser for the nurses that helped him when he passed away. He's buried at St. Joseph's. So our roots are in Makawao Town. This is where our family is. This is where we live. My dad loved the shop that we ended up going into because it has a giant clock on the outside of the wall. Of course, Germans are known for the clock. So he always liked that spot. And so it's just really neat how the whole thing came together.
Yeah, very serendipitous. I just absolutely love that story because it just seems meant to. I mean, the whole thing is as it comes around, and your father enjoying that space to begin with.
Yeah,
just seems very meant to be.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, I love it. So tell us a little bit about some of your goals for the future.
Oh, our goals, yeah. So we have been working on the 8-year dream to do cookie butters, and so I personally love cookie butter. Family would always bring it back from Trader Joe's, and now there's many companies doing cookie butter, but I like them all. And the equipment we need to make these butters is pretty pricey, and I'm always nervous when you get bigger equipment. Who fixes it if it breaks down, which is an ongoing issue for manufacturing on the island. So my husband and I went to the Chicago Pack Expo. We sourced the right equipment, but these are the obstacles. But University of Hawaii, the Maui campus, has a food innovation center, And they, many years ago, have applied for a few grants, and they've been working on this facility. We went and did a tour a few months ago. It's absolutely gorgeous. And so they have the budget to kind of bring in the machines, and luckily the machine we need is very versatile. It doesn't just make cookie butter. It can make nut butters. It can make milled wheat or flour. It has lots of different uses, so it could be used by many different people. But they will be bringing in equipment, and so this upcoming year is really focusing on the cookie butters, and my goal is to try to get it to shelf. We're going to be starting off with 2 flavors. We have a tropical flavor, and we got to debut that flavor in a smaller batch. It took me all day to make the batch, so not profitable yet, but we got to debut it at the Mid-Mountain Festival. It was about 4 or 5 years ago, and had great, just gave out samples of it, but we had great reviews and great feedback, and so we're excited to hopefully get that to shelf next year.
I think it's amazing. I sampled it. It was delicious. It was absolutely delicious. So those of us who got to sample it are so excited to see that that's moving forward.
Yes, thank you.
It's dangerous, folks, too. I might mention that it's one of those things that once you start spreading it on things, then it goes quick. So get ready to stock up. You have always been somebody who has been so open. What advice can you give young individuals who are finding their passion and are currently on the path to becoming an entrepreneur? What would you share with them? The biggest advice I have is to start small and don't give up your day job, so to speak. Make sure you have your income somehow coming in while you're trying to figure this out. It's great to have the idea. It's really important to take that idea and kind of test the market. Make sure that there is a customer out there, and make sure that the customer sees a value on your item that they would pay for it and pay for it more than once. All you really need is 100 loyal customers, and then at that point, I feel like that is a viable business. There'll always be people out there that don't like your product, and that's okay. That's the free world. There's so many different options for so many different things. All you really need is your solid 100. If you've got 100 people that will wait for a new flavor or wait for a new song or whatever your business is, and they'll always come back, I feel like that's what can really make the business. But baby step it, start small, and seek out people in your industry that have been successful and are still doing it, and make sure you connect with them and see what kind of challenges are you going to come into, and are you able to pivot constantly. I know that word is so overused, but it really is a great word when it comes to business, because nothing stays the same. So that is the biggest advice, is just keep that steady income until you can figure out if you can really do this full time. The second advice is, if you're selling an item, this wouldn't work for service industry-based companies, but if you are selling an item, there is a website called Etsy, and we just celebrated 10 years, so I feel like I've been down so many different roads trying to figure out how to sell online. And Etsy is probably the one website I do recommend. It's very different than all the other third parties, where you can keep your customer base information, and that is part of a company's intellectual property, and that's what helps make a company valuable, if you have access to your customers. And what I mean is, some third-party websites, they'll give you the orders, and then you ship it out, but you don't really have any access to that customer again, and because that customer makes the third party valuable. And Etsy lets you have your own shop. So let's say you start shipping to people; those people are connected to your shop, and if you have a new item or you want to run a sale, you can get that information out to your Etsy shop buyers. And Etsy is very low fees, very minimal, and the best part is, if you go to ship on Etsy, they populate the label for you, and you can print it right on your printer. You don't need any fancy label machine. Everything is very easy, and they even have classes you can do through that website, so you can learn how to do it. Very simple, very little startup, very little paperwork, just your tax license, and you can have a store up and going within a day. During the pandemic, my daughter was in 5th grade, and we were
running out of projects to do. I don't think I could have buried another time capsule or planted another tree. It's been 4 months. I said, okay, you know what? What do you like to do? She likes to draw. I said, let's make a sticker company. So that was her pandemic project. And so we made stickers. We had to get her, her GE license, open up a bank account. It had to be under us. But we went through all those steps, and then it hooked right up to her phone. And I said, okay, you're officially a business owner. And she, in the 5th grade, at 11 years old, she was running her Etsy store. And we were sitting and watching TV, and the Etsy has an app, so when you get a sale, you hear a register ding on your phone. And we were watching TV. I remember the day, 11 years old, and her phone dinged with the registers down. And we both screamed. She jumped up and started running around the living room, and we ran over to her sticker, and I showed, we went to the mill, mailed off her first order and put the stamp on there. It was such a great experience. But, it's definitely very simple and easy to get going. And everybody wants to support Maui. Now is the time, if you're going to start an online shop, this is the time to do it. People just want to do anything they can do to help Maui.
Absolutely. That's very well said. I'm so excited for your daughter because she does. I saw the first sticker, and it's absolutely adorable, and I just love that she's following in Mom's footsteps.
She's still doing it. She's still, selling them. So I'm really proud of all the money that she's raising for that is going to her college. So that actually helps Mom and Dad too.
Hallelujah! Yes.
Yeah.
Savings is a good learning lesson as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Not a lot of people save these days, so that's really important too.
And, every once in a while we'll be driving and she sees one of her stickers in somebody's car, and that's a pretty neat feeling too, as a little kid, to see, hey, I created that, and now it's on somebody's car.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, is there anything else specific happening with your business that you'd like to share? I know you've gotten some great news updates lately.
Yeah, the biggest one, which has been wonderful, is, we saw so many boxes come in, Amazon boxes coming in with donations. During the holidays we see a lot of stuff being shipped to Maui. We collect and recycle all that plastic bubble wrap inside the boxes and keep it out of the Maui landfill. There are some weeks that we ship more than we sell locally. We have been shipping for years, so we've got that customer base solid. And so we, at our shop in Mockwell, we try to collect on Sundays. If you have any plastic bubble wrap or any type of plastics or filler that has come into a box, maybe at work or through friends, or you can pass the word around with your friends, we collect it and we put it back in our orders that ship back to the mainland, and that stays, out of the Maui landfill. We also collect ice packs. I don't know of anybody really collecting ice packs on the island, so we collect the ice packs, we clean them up, and then we distribute them to the public school health aides for bumps and bruises. So we drop those off when we drop off the flip-flops. We're ongoing recycling them. We are more than happy to take, and they will definitely stay out of the landfill.
Thank you, Mitzi, for doing all the amazing things you do. We're so excited to have you on the show today and to have you again at this year's Made in Maui County Festival for the 10th annual. We look forward to seeing you there again soon. To our audience, thank you for joining us. We hope you'll join us again next Tuesday for Business Matters. Have a beautiful Maui day.